So, this is the second of a series of videos in which I discuss how the Unity game design engine can be systemically leveraged in activities for students that would allow them to apply narrative writing skills. In the previous video, I described how to create the virtual environment in which the story will take place using the Asset Store, and how to use some of the basic tools of the Unity game design engine. In this video, I will demonstrate how to create a cutscene complete with voiceover, music, and sound effects. Particulars regarding how this activity allows for authentic application of narrative writing skills in Common Core or New Jersey State Learning Standards will also be discussed. These particular standards will be the focus of this video, and as I play the cutscene that I created, which sort of presents a dystopian medieval version of Fahrenheit 451, notice how skills associated with them are being employed, and how the use of multimedia features enhances my ability to tell the story, thereby pertaining to this standard right here, which is oftentimes not focused upon.
The Kingdom of Babel. For centuries, magic was the epitome of their strength. Practitioners of magic dwelled amongst the ranks of the commoners. Healers and protectors they were, shielding the kingdom with the likes of their skilled warriors, fighting off disease and sickness. Libraries of books and spells could be found within the most modest dwellings of the common folk, until the few seduced by the evils of black magic wrought the king's onslaughts.
And so let's take a look at that clip again with my commentary. And notice how the music is supposed to complement the description of the society being a prosperous one. You have these protectors of the realm sparring there, and I use figurative language to describe the abundance of information that the commoners had access to. I intentionally pan the camera toward their houses to provide a visual of how modest they are. Then the music starts to fade and you hear some fire crackling in order to create an ominous atmosphere when describing the king's displeasure with the common people dabbling in black magic. The implication being that the books of magic were subsequently all burned by the order of the king. Then there's that dramatic zooming of the camera toward the castle's entrance because, the king is evil. There's nefarious stuff going on there. In any case, all of the multimedia components are meant to complement the different elements of the plot that I'm revealing. This is still a work in progress, so I've yet to finish the story or create any playable parts, but you see how having this as an option for a narrative writing project offers students an authentic application of narrative writing skills and affords them more avenues through which they can convey their ideas, what with all of the multimedia components. And now I will demonstrate how to use the different tools to add these multimedia components. So let's start with the camera. In order to manipulate the camera, you will have to create an animation track for the timeline. And since we're making an animation for the camera, we want to drag that component into the timeline from the hierarchy. Then we'll select the camera and use the Move tool to drag the camera to the desired starting point. And you'll notice that in the bottom right corner, there's a preview of the camera views, so we may have to rotate the camera using the Rotate tool in order to get the camera to focus on what we want it to focus on. And then we're ready to start recording. So hit the record button in the timeline. Then move the marker to indicate how long the motion you will record is going to take place. My timeline, as you can see, is set to measuring the time in frames. And then you could use the Move or Rotate tool to capture the camera's movement for the designated number of frames. Then we drag the marker over again to capture each subsequent motion for the camera. And we repeat this process until we have completed our camera animation for this scene. Here's a simpler camera animation that I created. Pay attention to the speed at which the camera zooms in on the house. Now, after you have created your camera animation, the number of frames or seconds that we initially set for each particular motion can be changed if so desired. All we'd have to do is double-click on the timeline, and then we can move the markers in order to slow down or speed up each event that we recorded. So I'm going to change the speed of the final motion for the camera that I recorded. And notice how much longer it takes for the camera to zoom in on the house. Now, onto the music. What I did was I added 2 audio sources under camera 2, which was the component in the hierarchy that I created the animation for. And when you click on each audio source, on the right you will see options for them. You select the audio source in the outputs. The sound effect that I wanted is already there, but when I click on output, you see a window providing options for the output. Now, in order to add an audio source under the camera, you just right-click on it, and then go to Audio, then Audio Source. And you'll also notice that the potential audio sources for the outputs were all saved under Game Assets under Materials. So these were all just MP3 files that I saved to this particular folder. Just make sure they are saved somewhere that is easy to locate in your assets, in order for them to be accessible as your audio sources. And that's how you create a video game cutscene. And in doing so, students can authentically apply narrative writing skills to an authentic context, one that they could potentially profit off of monetarily. Of course, playable elements of video games also require narrative writing skills. More to come on that in following videos.